Ready? They want to make Trump Derangement Syndrome an official diagnosis. Yes, you heard that right. 5 GOP lawmakers are about to introduce a bill in the state Senate that will officially define this as a mental health condition in the state. They want to refer it to the Health and Human Services Committee, according to Fox 9. Now, according to the bill, Trump Derangement Syndrome is defined as acute onset of paranoia in otherwise normal persons that is in reaction to the policies and presidencies of President Donald Trump. Its symptoms? Trump-induced general hysteria that produces an inability to distinguish between legitimate policy differences and signs of psychic pathology in Trump's behavior.
So a lot of you have been hearing about the Trump Derangement Syndrome bill that was put up for vote in Minnesota. Now, folks, from what I understand from digging into the story, it was more of an eye-opener, more of a joke than a legitimate bill. The reason the Republicans proposed it is legitimately due to Trump Derangement Syndrome. They can't get anything done. Committees only want to discuss Trump. They don't want to discuss what's going on in their state, in Minnesota, for their citizens.
Of the day, but Minnesota Senate Republicans just introduced a bill classifying Trump Derangement Syndrome as a mental illness. So in the bill it says mental illness means Trump Derangement Syndrome or an organic disorder of the brain or a clinically significant disorder of thought, mood, perception, orientation, memory, or behavior that is detailed in a diagnostic code list published by the commission and that seriously limits a person's capacity to function in primary aspects of daily living, such as personal relations, living arrangements, work, and recreation.
So the Republicans pushed this through to make a point. Minnesota has to stand on its own 2 feet. You can't blame everything on Trump. Everything doesn't have to do with Trump. But if you know anything about Minnesota, you know it's a seriously woke state. They have a transgender sitting inside of their state capitol who just is ridiculous. If you watch him at all, he's absolutely ridiculous, folks. And this is what it took to wake people up. Now, the interesting thing about this story is that one of the people that put this bill forward was arrested for soliciting an underage female for adult stuff. Let's put it that way. Because we were already demonetized from YouTube for hurting liberals' feelings. Our content was seen as harmful. My content, harmful. So if you like to support our channel, it's linked in the top of comments. Feel free. It would be such a blessing. But let's continue, folks.
Make the motion in the morning after federal prosecutors charged this GOP state senator with soliciting a minor. David Schuman has the graphic text messages and the swift response from fellow Republicans.
We've sent out a statement asking that Senator Eichhorn submit his resignation.
Just hours after saying that, Republican Minority Leader Mark Johnson sent a statement Wednesday night reading, quote, "There's no question that these charges merit expulsion." And Republicans plan to put that in motion Thursday morning. Senator Justin Eichhorn, a Republican from Grand Rapids, is sitting in the Hennepin County Jail after being arrested in Bloomington Monday. The FBI says undercover Bloomington detectives placed ads as an 18-year-old looking for paid sex on 2 known human trafficking websites. A criminal complaint says Eichhorn messaged, "What's a guy got to do to get with the hottest girl online tonight?" He asked what her rates were, and later they negotiated. The officer said at one point, "I'm 17, sorry, don't want you to be mad." Eichhorn asked for a, quote, "naughty pic," and when the officer brought up age again, Eichhorn wrote, "I think age of consent is 17. When do you turn 18? The husband and father later pulled up to a Bloomington parking lot where waiting police arrested him.
If you don't truly understand that people are losing their minds over the fear of Donald Trump, then you don't watch social media. When people in this country are willing to spread malicious, insane lies saying that women are going to lose their right to vote, right? We're going to lose our right to vote. Women are going to lose autonomous control of their reproductive organs. Gays are going to be put into concentration camps. These are all things that I have heard just since President Trump was back in office. It has been, martial law, the entire country, April 20th. Everybody's going to be locked up. You can't protest anymore. No more protests.
Just like Rosie O'Donnell, have Trump Derangement Syndrome. And I want to show you something, Piers.
No,
I think, Brian,
you're an idiot.
excuse me, dude, you wouldn't say that shit in my face, so shut up. Number one. Number two,
Okay,
I think
Jersey
people like
Shore.
you and Rosie O'Donnell should sue mainstream media for what they've done to you. And Piers, I brought some photos of pre-Trump and post-Trump. Look at this. This is Rosie O'Donnell before Trump, right? Nice, good. Look what happens, Piers, with Trump Derangement Syndrome, all right? Rachel Maddow. Look at how hot Rachel Maddow was. And then look, Trump Derangement Syndrome. She looks like Stephen Colbert. And then look, Kathy Griffin, someone that I might have hooked up with if I was drunk. They turned her into Carrot Top. Okay.
And he's right. I mean, look at the people on the left, you guys. Your insides reflect on your outside. So if you're a bitter, angry person, eventually you just start looking bitter and angry, and it's not a good look on humans' bodies. I'm serious. Now, I found one of the most interesting clips, and it is a connection between USAID and the money being funneled directly to mainstream media and talking about the control, how they have been lying. So what that gentleman just said, you should sue mainstream media for doing this to you, is a legitimate statement. Because when you see the receipts of how you said money, your tax dollars were being used to control you, it makes you question the narrative you're following. So if you're a liberal and you've been foaming at the mouth the entire video, get you some tissue, sit down and watch
The entire mainstream media has been funded by the U.S. government under USAID. This is not just about wasted taxpayer money. USAID was literally funding an entirely handcrafted fake reality, and not just in the United States, all over the world. We were robbed in order to fund global psychological manipulation. The headline here is the U.S. government robbed you blind in an effort to control your mind. This is why I have always said if every government employee and every news outlet is agreeing with what you are saying, you should probably question it. But let's dive into this, shall we? Let's start with the Associated Press. These are their total contributions by party every election cycle, and it's really funny how their donations from Democrats really shot up in 2018 and 2020. But this right here is how they hide behind it all. Because when you look at this, you see that the numbers shot up again in 2020, and most of the donations were made by individuals. But if you look up what an individual could technically be classified as, it could be members, employees, or owners of the organization and those individuals' immediate family members. Not exactly regular, everyday working Americans. Let's look at the New York Times next. Again, not a lot of contributions until right in between 2018 and 2022. And again, the same numbers in the same time by the same individuals. Let's take a look at Politico, shall we? I couldn't find those same charts for this one, but look at whose campaigns they donated to. Joe Biden, Elizabeth Warren, Kamala Harris, John Ossoff, Bernie Sanders. The Washington Post was a little less obvious with theirs, but still the same concept. Back in 2020, a measly $3,000 went to Trump. Meanwhile, Biden got $20,000 and Pete Buttigieg got $6,000. Then you go to 2022 and you have all these Democratic names, including Chuck Schumer. And in 2024, you have Kamala Harris among many other Democrats. Now let's talk about Thomson Reuters, which is basically a parent company of a news outlet. In 2020, $5,000 went to Trump. Meanwhile, $166,000 went to Kamala Harris. In the next election cycle, they have obviously come into some money because about $30,000 went to Trump. Meanwhile, Joe Biden, Bernie Sanders, Elizabeth Warren, Pete Buttigieg, John Ossoff, and the Democratic senatorial campaign, and all kinds of others got the rest. Here's another election cycle. We're back to the smaller amounts of money, but the lean is still the same. Democrats, leftists, you guys, come on. I used to be one of you guys, okay? But I need you guys to understand that they need you to think that the people who voted for Trump have been had so that you don't realize that you have been had. It is the ultimate manipulation for them to convince you that the other side has been played, and meanwhile, the entire time, they are playing you like fools. I'm not coming down on you. I'm saying this with love because I was one of those fools. They gaslit us so hard that we all became like little mini narcissists. And yes, it is narcissistic to think that everyone should have the same viewpoint as you. I was doing it too, okay? I was operating from that moral high ground. I thought that I was better than all of my Republican family because I cared more. And looking back on it now, I just really cannot believe that more of us were not seeing through this. It has gotten so bad to the point where they don't even have to try to divide us anymore. They just literally speak on TV and you guys run out and do it for them. Did you know that it only takes 2 months of repeating something over and over before an entire population will believe it? Conveniently, Kamala Harris's campaign was about 3 months. And in that time, the news outlets and your government employees managed to convince you that 7 million Americans are racist, are Nazis, and are evil. That should scare you, how quickly they were able to accomplish that. So if you are someone who hates Trump and hates everyone who voted for him, I would ask you to just please sit with this information that I just gave you and really marinate on it.
Yet it's the left out there bombing Tesla businesses, destroying people's personal property, attacking people for wearing Make America Great Again hats. It is a mental illness. It is demonically possessed people who love fear. It is their bedfellow, so to speak. It's their best friend. I've told you guys before, if you remove the fear from these people, they have nothing else. They thrive on it. So I see the point in proposing the bill just to raise awareness of the idiocy of the elected officials that can't do their job because they won't stop discussing President Trump and what he's doing on the federal end of things. So Minnesota as a state is in serious trouble. Now, I hope Representative Eichhorn gets convicted all the way through, folks, because that is disgusting. And adults messing with children, they need to be prosecuted to the fullest extent of the law in every single case, always. We must protect our children. But now when you see these people on social media, they're like, all Republicans are dangerous. All Republicans are dangerous. And it's shocking to me because these are the same people that allowed in 30 million undocumented immigrants to our country, seriously putting our women and children in harm left and right. And yet they're going to make this one man, Eichhorn, the standard bearer of the Republican Party. Well, shame on you. Shame on you for that. That's it, folks. That's all I've got for you. I've got to go to the bank and take care of some business. If you, again, would like to support our channel, we would greatly appreciate it. Like, comment, share this video. We have to get the news out that no, every Republican, every white male is not a child mo. However, you did let in a few million of them through the southern border, and you need to own it.